Have you ever seen a smile that sends shivers down your spine? Not a friendly one, but something. Off? Imagine this. You're a psychiatrist, Dr. Rose Cotter. Your job is to help people, to listen to their fears. One day, a new patient arrives, completely terrified. She's a young woman, and she tells you something is following her, something no one else can see. She says it's an entity, and it always appears with a wide, unnatural smile. It whispers to her, telling her she's going to die. You try to calm her down, assure her it's a delusion, but then it happens. The girl's face contorts into that same horrifying smile she described. And right there, in front of you, she takes her own life, still smiling. That single traumatic event changes everything for Rose. The image of that smile is burned into her mind. But it's more than just a memory. Soon, she starts seeing it everywhere. A stranger on the street flashes that same creepy grin. A patient in the hospital ward. Even her own reflection seems to mock her with that same terrifying smile. At first, she thinks she's losing her mind, that the trauma is causing hallucinations. Her fiancé, her sister, her therapist, they all think she's breaking down. They don't believe her. They can't see what she sees. But Rose knows it's real. It feels too real. She starts digging, desperate for answers. Her investigation leads her down a dark and twisted path. She discovers a chain of bizarre, violent suicides, all connected by one chilling detail. There was always a witness. Each victim saw someone else die before they took their own life. Rose realizes it's not a hallucination. It's a curse. A malevolent entity that feeds on trauma and hops from person to person. It latches onto a witness, haunts them, drives them mad with its relentless, smiling presence, and then forces them to take their own life in front of a new witness, continuing the cycle. The entity doesn't just want you to die. It wants your death to be a spectacle of horror for someone else to carry. Rose is in a race against time. The smiles become more frequent, more personal. The entity appears as people she knows, twisting their familiar faces into masks of grinning terror. It whispers to her, taunts her, feeding on her growing fear and isolation. Everyone she turns to for help either dismisses her or becomes a pawn in the entity's cruel game. She's completely alone, hunted by an invisible monster that wears the faces of her loved ones. The world she knew is collapsing, replaced by a constant, waking nightmare where any face could suddenly break into that soul-crushing smile. In her frantic search for a way out, she finds a sliver of hope. She tracks down a man who survived the curse. He tells her there's a loophole, a way to break the chain. But the solution is as monstrous as the curse itself. To escape, you can't just die. You have to kill someone else brutally, in front of a witness. This act of extreme violence is the only thing that can disrupt the entity's pattern. The curse will then pass to the witness of your crime, and you'll be free. Rose is horrified. Is survival worth becoming a monster? The ethical dilemma is staggering. Save herself by damning someone else? Or accept her fate? She rejects this brutal option. There has to be another way. Rose believes that if she can confront her own past trauma, the deep-seated pain from her childhood that the entity is exploiting, she might be able to weaken its hold on her. She decides to isolate herself completely, to face the entity alone, in a place where there are no witnesses. If she dies alone, the curse dies with her. It's a noble sacrifice, a final act of defiance. She returns to her abandoned childhood home, a place filled with painful memories, believing this is where she can finally make her stand. In the desolate house, the entity unleashes its full power. It takes on the form of her deceased mother, manifesting as a towering, grotesque creature, its face locked in that signature, terrifying smile. A brutal confrontation ensues, both physical and psychological. Rose fights back with everything she has, confronting the specter of her past and the monster in front of her. In a climactic struggle, she manages to set the creature and the house on fire. She escapes, watching the home burn to the ground, believing she has finally won. She has faced her trauma, destroyed the entity, and broken the curse. For a moment, there's relief. She drives to her ex-boyfriend Joel's apartment. He was a police officer who had tried to help her, the one person who seemed to halfway believe her story. She finds comfort in his presence, a sense of safety she hasn't felt in days. She apologizes for pushing him away. He looks at her with concern, and then his face begins to stretch. That familiar, wide, horrifying smile spreads across his lips. Rose's heart plummets. It was all a trick. She never escaped the house. The entity was just playing with her, giving her a false sense of victory to make her final moments even more devastating. The scene melts away, and she's back in the burning house. The real Joel bursts through the door, having tracked her phone, desperate to save her. But it's too late. As he watches in horror, the giant smiling monster from her nightmares crawls inside Rose's mouth, possessing her completely. Rose, now a vessel for the entity, turns to face Joel. A slow, terrible smile spreads across her face. He is now the witness. The curse is about to be passed on. She raises a can of gasoline, douses herself, and lights a match. Joel can only watch, frozen in terror, as she burns, a final horrifying smile etched on her face. The cycle isn't broken. It has just begun again. So, what does this all mean? The smile is more than just a scary face. It's a symbol of hidden pain. The entity is a metaphor for trauma itself, how it can be passed from person to person, how it isolates you, and how it can make you feel like you losing your mind while the rest of the world looks on, unable to see your struggle. Rose's journey shows us that ignoring trauma or letting it fester only makes it stronger. It forces its way out in destructive ways. The film's terrifying ending leaves us with a chilling question. Can you ever truly escape your demons, or do they just find a new person to haunt? The real horror isn't the monster. It's the idea that trauma is a curse that we can unwillingly pass on to others. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more content. See you in the next video.